Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out to learn a little bit more about our third year in our classroom. I wanted to just, I know that most of you have done tours with us throughout the years, and I know some of you have older siblings who have done kindergarten with us. And the most important part of our third year in our program is, and it could be for some children, it could be a fourth year cycle, and for some children we have them for 2 years, but it's so important for the children to finish out their third year. It's like we always say, you wouldn't send your child to college without doing their senior year of high school. And with that third year comes, you know, all the compilation of everything that they've learned, and they get privileges, and they are really the big fish in the pond. And so one of the things, I don't know. Okay, so with our third year students, we really see that they are a community. They are leaders in the classroom. They know the rules of the classroom. They are going to enforce it. They are role models. We always team them up with younger children at the beginning of the school year, and they really do take this being a role model to heart. They're the teachers. They're an extra set of hands. They will give lessons to those younger children. They're empathetic friends. We really enjoy seeing the children taking care of those younger children and loving and policing. They're rule followers. We love structure in our school. We love structure in life. And now more than ever, the children like to know what's coming next. And as a result of that third year, they're confident, they're independent, and they're peace ambassadors. And they are ready to go to first grade. They are ready to spread their wings.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the mixed age grouping. The mixed age grouping in a Montessori environment is not accidental. Each child benefits from being exposed to those who are older or younger or at the same age. Younger children have role models to look up to from the very first day of school, like Fiona mentioned. They quickly learn how to behave and what is acceptable from watching the older children. They observe the older children working on more advanced materials that really piques their interest and curiosity. In the classroom, we'll call this long neck syndrome. They're like little giraffes, you know, stretching their necks, trying to see what the big kids are doing. Also, the older children, in turn, benefit from being these mentors to the younger ones. One of the best ways to internalize knowledge is to explain it to somebody else, and often an older child will help teach certain concepts to a younger child. The oldest child in the classroom naturally takes on leadership roles, which has been modeled for them by the children before them. They look forward to doing these third year work the two previous years. This opportunity can lead to huge payoffs for many children, helps them build confidence and self-esteem. And during the third year, the mixed environment really plays a key role. Here, even the shy child has the opportunity to lead, and this is always a younger child in need of mentoring. Kindergartners seek out friends that are in need of assistance, and many have reached a point where they're able to present lessons to other students who are still learning. And this act really cements the things that they've learned like the years previous. So now I'm just going to talk about, every lesson, it starts simple, and then it gets progressively more complex. And the materials possess a control of error, so the child could then self-correct and correct their own work, and they could also work at their own pace. And each lesson has 3 levels of work. And I'm briefly going to highlight the characteristics of the first year, second year, and third year student. For first year students, they're explorers. They're typically 3 years old, and they have a need to explore the environment and certain things and objects call to them in the environment. This is where they learn to refine their sense of order, internalize order, learn to sort and classify. And this is the groundwork for the ability to think and learn. For example, they'll start off in practical life, and if they can't carry a tray to do pouring, they're not going to be able to carry a tray to be doing, static addition with the bead material. And they also learn skills to take care of themselves in the environment and take care of their work while developing good habits. And then second year, they're kind of the experimenters. They're feeling more confident. They're typically 4 years old, and they've had a year of independent exploration and concentration are becoming more interested in their classmates and the social world of what's going on around them. They like socializing, and they're driven to explore different group dynamics. And they're being more teacher-directed activities, and they do much of their work in small groups rather than independently. This is when you'll see them pairing up more with older children and doing work with the third years. And then when they have the third year, they're the experts. They are typically 5 years old, and they now have a strong background in all the areas of the classroom and are able to work entirely independently. And they're developmentally ready to become leaders and peer teachers. And they continue to refine their work habits, and they're confident, creative, and they're really become quite the problem solvers. And they're well equipped and ready to move into a new environment. And now we're going to move on to the different areas of the classroom and kind of learn how each work and material is scaffolded on the next. So I'm going to pass it on to Madame Lorenzo, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about practical life.
Hi, everyone. So practical life in Montessori is clearly the base of every future work the child will do in the classroom. In this area, the child learns how to develop motor control, coordination, finger grips, precise work. The child develops independence, concentration, and a sense of responsibility. The child is learning to follow a complex motor sequence independently, and it will help the child in his everyday routine and also learning. So kindergarten in practical life can take care of the environment without the need of an adult saying what to do. They can take responsibility, and it helps them to forge a strongest confidence and self-esteem. So first year, the example is able to do beginning sewing. So it's clearly the base, be able to lay the string in, to use a pincer grasp, to turn the flap back to reveal the hole with the string in it, and use the opposite pincer grasp to pull the string out. Second year, able to sew a button, be able to wrap the thread around the finger, tie a knot, to use both ends independently, and to hold while they are sewing. And the third year, they are experts. They're able to do advanced sewing. So it's a year of accomplishment, the combination of different skills. They know how to create the shape. They have the motor skills to trace and to write. They are bringing different areas together. For example, on this image, you see the child has used sewing to create his own work of continental globe from the cultural area. Sensorial area. This area helps children decoding and understand the world, the environment, and the reality through their 5 senses. The sensorial materials allow the child to experiment and come to conclusion by exclusively sensory approach without having to use language or mathematical formula. The sensorial materials is intended to follow the development of these 5 senses. The material proposed to the child to understand the world only with these 5 senses intuitively without resorting to logical awareness. It's what Maria Montessori called the observant mind. Since the sensorial material has mathematical characteristics, some based on the decimal system, some on proportions, some on physical properties, the transition to learning the decimal system and math will be easier. The dimensions of the sensorial material are studied to be designed according to the decimal system that we use to count. Sensorial material leads the child to organize its thoughts. Exercise of sensory discrimination, pairing, or gradation develops the logical mind and prepare for math. In first year, so those are geometric solids. With this work, children can discover the shape and discriminate them. The second year, the binomial cube, when it's first introduced to the child, is presented as a challenging three-dimensional cube, three-dimensional puzzle. This cube is based on binomial theorem. Children will understand the mathematical formula without knowing it. Their brain figures out something without noticing it consciously. Kindergarten can use sensorial material to do advanced work. For example, they can measure the classroom with red rods and draw a plan, creating different shapes and organizing them. On this picture, this is the trinomial cube. This is the child's more complex next step. This cube is constructed with 27 different wooden prisms, each representing a different combination of variables from the expanding trinomial cube equation. Kindergarten will be able to develop an understanding of this expanding equation and will be able to be very comfortable in mathematics because they will understand the problem before they are faced with the formula. Culture with Mrs. Mato.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk you through our the children's progress in the culture area of the classroom. So our culture shelves include science, geography, and exploring different cultures of the world. So when a first-year student comes in, a young 3-year-old, he is really interested in seeing what's on the shelves. They explore about animals, plants. We have puzzles, puzzle maps, and puzzles to show different parts of an animal or a plant, parts of a leaf, parts of a tree, parts of a flower. And they choose work that's of interest to you, like a child who's interested in dinosaurs will be pulled into working with living, non-living, extinct work and those lessons. They're really trying to figure out the world around them and how they relate to it. And then when they advance to the second year, they have a deeper understanding of this. They understand how they relate to the world. And they're really consciously starting to understand science and all these lessons. And they really are starting to learn the names of all different classifications of animals and names of different continents and oceans and those things. But when they get into the third year, that's a really advanced curriculum. They are experts, first of all, at now giving all those lessons to new friends. And apart from that, they're learning names of continents, names of countries, flags for each country, distinguishing between different flags, all political maps, and advanced science lessons. They are now doing more research. So they're doing, if they're interested in learning about a particular animal, they will go ahead and take an encyclopedia, or we will open up a laptop and they will read about those with our help, those animals, and they'll really write a report on it. So they're really free to explore to the extent that they are ready to explore at their own pace. They start to, at this time, it's really interesting to hear their questions. They have really deep questions about different cultures. And when we start doing, we do evolution of life on Earth. With those lessons, we start with the Big Bang and how life started. And it is so cool to hear their questions about God now starting. We hear questions about God, and it's really amazing to see how they've come from that first 3-year-old student look at this. If you look at this picture, this is a first-year child, and she's just putting those cards in order to learn about fishes. I think those pictures are fish. And now, so she was just matching different parts of a fish. But now in this picture, they're learning the names and learning to write the names of each part of that and recognizing them. In this, like I was saying before, this child is a 3rd-year-old, and he wanted to do study of all classification of animals one by one. So he did everything. He did started with a fish, and we opened up an encyclopedia, and he researched all information about fish and their parts of the body, where they live, what they eat. And he wrote a whole report about that. Then he went on to the next. And in this picture, you'll see all this information that he researched about a bird. And it was such a proud moment when he put it up on the wall, and so many of the younger students, when they walk into the school, they look up and see that, and they want to do that. So I'm going to give the baton to Mrs. Raymond now.
I don't know how to change the pictures. Oh. Hi, how are you? I'm going to talk a little bit about our math program, and do I move the picture first? Sorry, I didn't see how you go. Oh, yeah. So in the first year for math, they're learning how to sort and arrange concrete materials spatially by graduated increments of 1 to 10. Also introduced to, hold on, and practicing counting 1 through 10 with concrete materials. They're also introduced to numbers 1 through 10. They're also tracing numbers 1 through 10 with the sandpaper numbers. Then they move on to sorts and arranges numerals 1 through 10 in order, sequencing 1 through 10. Then they move on to adding one-to-one correspondence to our 1 through 10 numbers. They're also introduced to the decimal system, the place values, ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. In the second year, they're learning to add and subtract sensorially with numbers 1 through 10 and record operations. They also explore the concepts of sets, zeros, odd and even numbers, equivalencies, greater than and less than, and combinations of 10 as an introduction to addition. They're also recognizing, associates, and constructs numerals 11 through 19. They practice writing numerals 1 through 19. They're also learning how to compose numbers with the decimal system. Moving into the third year, they're now adding and subtracting sensorially with numerals 11 and up and recording these operations. They're writing numerals 1 through 100. We do a little bit of multiplying and dividing sensorially and records these operations. They also practice counting, labeling, and recording with linear counting exercises using sensorial materials that teach the square and the cube of numbers 1 through 10. So they do a lot of skip counting. Recognizes, constructs numbers with the decimal system materials, performs static and dynamic operations with the decimal system materials. They are also familiar with the names and the values of penny, nickel, and dime, and they're also introduced to time, so hour and half hours. Thank you. So these are children, first-year children who are working with the red rods. They just see the difference in the lengths. The red and blue rods are where they are the one-to-one correspondence, and they're getting the understanding of the quantity. And these are our second-year students. And this is the bird's eye view. So here they're recognizes and constructs numbers with the decimal system. So they are laying out all of these numbers, the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, and then they're going back and they're getting the quantity of the tens, hundreds, and ones and thousands. So thank you. And this is a third-year student. He's perform static and dynamic operations with the decimal system. So they're using the golden bead materials for the operations for adding and subtracting. And in our third year, our goal is for the students to have an abstract understanding so they can work just on paper. So now our language. Our first year students, pre-language works include patterning, manipulative activities, basically a lot of matching, sequencing. Oral language is encouraged with emphasis on learning nomenclature, speaking in sentences, and correct enunciation. The use of materials that develop fine motor skills, introduction to sound and symbol for letters and tracing them with our sandpaper letters, recognizing names, isolating sounds, beginning sounds in words. The second year, continued vocabulary work, oral presentations to a group, matching pictures and labels, sequencing pictures and storytelling, continued work with the sounds and symbols, writing letters, writing names, writing words, continued work with isolating beginning sounds, reading phonetic words and rhyming, constructing short vowel words with three-letter phonetic words with manipulatives. They're also working on isolating the middle and ending sounds in words. In our third year, learning advanced nomenclature, participation in group discussions, reading to a group during circle, perfecting handwriting skills, writing sentences. So that's when they're working on learning that in the beginning of a sentence is always a uppercase. At the end of the sentence, there's period, space between words, continued word construction with mixed short vowels, plurals, phonograms, and long vowels. Also reading more complex phonetic words, plural, phonograms, and long vowels. Continued work with sight words, reading phonetic books and books with long vowels and blends, writing words from dictation, and writing creatively. We have children draw pictures, and then they'll have the movable alphabet and write out sentences about, describing what their picture is about. Learning the function of words and letter naming and alphabetizing. So alphabetical order, they do a lot of that. They learn grammar. So they'll learn verb, noun, adjective, and what they are and what they mean. Let's see. They label the environment. A lot of creative writing. They like to draw pictures, so it's an easy way to get them to write about it and practice their sounds, practice their sentences, and just how we make sentences. So let's see. So this is a child who's working on isolating the beginning sounds of words. So that's our movable alphabet. We give them pictures or objects, and they're just, that's a picture of a violin. So they have to listen to the v for violin. Our second year, now they're continued work with isolating beginning sounds, but also working on the middle and ending sounds. So this child is isolating each sound. So the first picture is a jug, j, ugh. So what comes in the beginning, what's in the middle, what's at the end. Third year, this is a child who drew a picture and then wrote about it with the movable alphabet. So they had to sound it all out, and then is now writing the sentences on a piece of paper. So that's where they're working on the mixed short vowels, plurals, phonograms, long vowels, and they're just listening for the sounds phonetically. Obviously, it's not all spelt right, but that's the sounds that they hear. So at least we know they're hearing that many sounds, the proper amount of sounds in a word. So that is our third year. And now we're moving on to peace.
Hi. So Montessori education is education for peace. This is huge for us. When our child comes into the classroom for the first time, a young 3-year-old, we begin with inner peace. Inner peace comes through purposeful work, work that grounds them. And we encourage unitasking, not multitasking, like, which is the buzzword these days. Unitasking, so they can learn to focus on a work and really concentrate and get into the flow of working. As they grow older, they learn, the children learn yoga. They understand the meaning of silence and how to regulate emotions, how to resolve conflicts peacefully. They learn that our actions and words affect other people's feelings. So they, when they get into the 3rd year, though, those children now understand, they have matured enough to lead those conflict resolutions and those interactions. They have matured enough to learn when to step in to help another younger child, and when to take a step back. This is the strongest lesson in leadership, that they will need this lesson when they enter their new classrooms, the new public school environment, because they'll find children there, friends from different backgrounds and different temperaments. And not just children, this maturity will now help them even in their interactions with their new teacher. In this picture, you see that the 1st-year explorers in our classroom are learning how to wait for their turn. They learn to use polite words, following rules. If you are familiar with our Love Light necklace, they are attracted to the Love Light necklace just to wear it, just for the beauty of it. When they enter the 2nd year, these students now are more mindful of helping others. They look up to the 3rd-year leaders. Now they're responsible for their work. They become more motivated to take on ownership of their work. They feel that they belong to the group. They want to help in maintaining the environment, cleaning up, all those chores. Now they're advanced to really understand more about the Love Light, and they use it to celebrate their accomplishments or when they feel good. When they are in their 3rd year, now they are experts at these things. They are really, like I said, they are helping the younger children in resolving their conflicts and their interactions. They really are mature enough for complex emotions like empathy. And we will see them outside on the playground inviting, if they see a friend sitting alone, they'll invite them to join in play. They really talk about fairness, and something is fair, and it was this child's turn and the other one took a turn, and this fairness and justice is really important to them now. They are able to think beyond themselves. They're not just thinking of how to fit in, they're thinking of others, and they're contributing in meaningful ways, and their own small or big ways. Like in this picture, if you see, we coordinate with the church upstairs, and our 3rd-year students help bag food for the needy, and these bags of donation are dropped off at places. So they're really contributing, and they have this understanding of volunteering and doing for others. This year and the past year, we've been participating in American Montessori's research, American Montessori Society's research on how to best help our children adapt to and they're adjusting to the public school environment when they get there. So what we have been doing is we have coordinated with our past alumni students, their families, and we have learned about their experiences when they moved in to their new classrooms, and from public school teachers. And we've done this research to come up with the best plan for our children for the maximum success that they can have. What let me move this. So Montessori, in the afternoon, we give them a really focused. We take them out of the group and we focus on this half hour, 45 minutes on just the curriculum that they need for their traditional public school methods, which will be different for them when they move to public school. We have during the day our Montessori curriculum, which is advanced in academics, and the children are free to learn and advance as much as they want to at their own individual pace. But for this half hour, this special enrichment time, we take them out and we focus on language and math and learning methods and the vocabulary that they will use in public schools, and really ensure that all the state curriculum and the scope and sequence of the state curriculum is followed and everything is included. So the children are really prepared for next year, for their first grade. So what I really want to emphasize is we really feel strongly about this last year. And if I have personal experience of my two children who've finished their third year, and I still see how they've benefited from it even now when they're in 5th grade and in high school. So this is really beyond, the benefit is really beyond just the first grade class that they'll get into, and that these benefits will stay them, because in that third year they're really mature enough to, they have all these tools in their tool belt, all those lessons that they've learned through the past 2 years, and now they are ready to grow past all of them, and they excel exponentially this year. And it's really surprising and heartening to see how in that one last year they just grow by leaps and bounds in every way, not just academically. Yes, academically, but also intellectually, socially, emotionally. They're just, that 1 year is just so important, and there's so much more growth in that 1 year. So if our presentation so far has not convinced you enough, consider this long list of famous Montessorians who credit their success to Montessori. I'm going to say some names and you can look them up. Julia Child, Steph Curry was a Montessorian. Founders of Google, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Jeff Bezos, creator of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales. These are all Montessorians, and they credit their success to their time with Montessori. Any questions, anyone?
Okay, I'm gonna stop the screen share. Okay, and I'm gonna set these. Does anybody have any questions?
Anything you want to share?
You can unmute yourself.
We cannot hear you.
Raise your hand if you're asking a question, because we're not hearing anybody, or maybe no one has any questions. Okay,
Crickets.
Any thoughts on how we spoke? We were nervous.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very enlightening. I like how you divided it up into, each section, and then really clearly explained what the students are, what the goals are for each year in each area. I thought it was, I kind of wish I'd seen that. I never went to these when Sage was in school there, actually, I think. So it was nice to see the
I don't
think we had it, because I think that was something we started because we really felt that parents needed to understand why it was so important for that third year. And it focuses really in on that third year. So
what we see in the classroom is just so, we can't explain in words. It's just so heartening, and we wish you could see. Sorry, it's like a different child that last year.
So I have a question regarding your sort of, I guess, your Montessori research in terms of the transition to the public school. So what have you found? I don't know if you have any examples or anything, like what have you found through this study that would, that has altered how you have, presented things or taught the students or any sort of I don't know if it's lesson plans or anything, but like,
Yes.
yeah.
So we have really started, like I was talking about that time in the afternoon. We use workbooks that they use in public school. So they have word problems and things that we are doing. The Montessori curriculum is way advanced than that even, but our children have to get used to the vocabulary that they use in public schools and the method of teaching, which is everyone's going to be doing the same thing at the same time, following instructions, following the pace of everyone. So to get them used to that, we take them apart and really focus on those things, both language and math. And we follow the state curriculum. We make sure all of those points are checked.
Yeah. So this was for the kindergarten curriculum.
Yes.
But presumably when they're finished with the third year, they'd be going into first grade.
Yes.
So I don't know what the difference is, in terms of the public school kindergarten and first grade, if there's any difference in terms of transition.
We feel that because curriculum wise, we make sure that they're exposed to all the points that a kindergartner in public school would be doing.
Yeah.
And in other ways, we feel it's smoother for these children to transition in that year because they are more mature. And like I was saying, they have those tools and they're more, emotionally and mentally, they're ready for that change. And they're really, we feel at the end of the year, when we go into the end of April, May, we feel like they're really grown out of this environment even. They've experienced in so much, and all these tools that they have of resilience and regulation, self-regulation, they really help them to, I've seen with my own children that first grade, that they're able to very smoothly transition.
Thanks.
With the new, especially with new children and new friends, which may be different from them, they know how to behave around them, and just regulate, all the circumstances that may come. Anything else?